Tonight on Joynews Prime, Joynews investigation uncovers procurement breaches at the National Lottery Authority that has resulted in the loss of over $10 million of the taxpayers' money.
It seems obvious that the price of the POS terminals has been inflated by more than $10 million.
We'll have that documentary coming your way at 8:30 p.m. right here on the Joynews channel. Government announces all markets in the country will have the electric cables replaced to avert rampant fires.
Wiring now no so no. I buy wiring with markets and walking yeah, my babies are NCBO.
Well, traders who lost wares in the latest fire, the Udon market at the Kwame Nkrumah interchange have meanwhile been promised help. The Electoral Commission says it is hoping to declare the results of the December elections 24 hours after the close of polls.
By the next day, before we go to bed, we'll have declared the results. So our plan is that we want to declare results on the 8th of December. That's why I said that this year's election is going to be the best.
In business,
the Trade Minister, Alan Tremantin, is warning against unfair trade practices even as businesses prepare for the Continental Free Trade Agreement area.
Any efforts at having unfair trade practices in our economy will undermine the work that we've done so far.
Frontline health workers caring for COVID-19 patients appeal to members of the public to adhere to the preventive protocols, warning that resurgence in COVID-19 cases is taking a toll on them.
I want them to also note that the energy with which health workers started this fight is no more like that. We are getting tired. Some of us have not had our leave for the past 12 months.
My name is Israel, and Joynews Prime is coming to you live from our Fan Office studios at Kokomlimli here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Now, Joynews investigation has uncovered the nation lost over $10 million in the procurement of point-of-sale devices for the National Lottery Authority, NLA. In a documentary set for broadcast later tonight, right here on the Joynews channel, our team gathered evidence that the contract for the supply of 30,000 POS devices for the NLA could have cost less than half of the $25 million spent. And we will be bringing you that documentary, as I indicated, at 8:30 p.m. That's just about an hour and a half from now. Now, government has promised to provide financial support to traders at the Udon market who lost their wares in a midnight inferno. Fire personnel who arrived at the scene struggled to get access to the congested market while the fire raged. Some of the affected traders who spoke with Joynews were concerned about the numerous market fires.
Curtains, 3 base, bedsheet 4 base, azana, sponge beton, towels 1 bill. Me go kumas me di 2 weeks. Man fa ba kukura.
Where the main road is, where they had the roundabouts, where they have the public toilets, that was where the fire started coming. So it was heavy, and fire service too also they came around. Yeah, but they tried to also off the fire, but the blazing of the fire was too heavy. Yeah, and it was coming this direction, coming down. So I realized that the fire is coming down towards where my office is. So I had to rush again and also come to see what is going on. I got to the office there. I don't know what else again to do because the fire was coming close. All of a sudden,
You were here and the fire was approaching.
Exactly.
You saw the fire approaching.
So is fire coming very close. So all of a sudden, we had some heavy sound. Boom, boom. This place was on fire, was on raise.
Exactly. It started from the toilet zone,
right,
which is about 100 meters from here. So all this could even get to this point it shocks everybody. People still try their possibility to rescue their things even down to this point because they never believe it will get to this place. When they are seeing about 4, 5, 6, even more fire service vehicles here, that they are all believing that, oh, by all means, things are going to be in place. But I believe that they were not able to get a proper link to where the fire directly is coming from.
President Akufo-Addo Wednesday afternoon visited the scene of the fire together with some government officials to interact with the affected traders. Chief Executive of the National Board for Small-Scale Industries and the MCE of the area said they have initiated moves to cushion the over 3,000 traders identified so far.
The markets were all going to be taken care of. They were going to barricade the entire areas. That is to ensure that at a certain time when we ensure that the markets are closed, everybody will close it and move out. People who are sleeping in the market, cooking in the market, those are some of the causes. Apart from the fact that people get quack repairers to repair their gadgets, people don't buy the right gadgets to fix in their.
So we're looking at providing some support to the women and men who have lost their products through the fire.
How soon is that going to be?
Within the next week, we'll start putting things in place. By tomorrow, we've worked with the MCE to ensure he has a database of all of them. So immediately we'll work with him to ensure that they get something within the week or two.
So do you have that access?
Yes, we have. We have got me to this afternoon.
You know exactly who is who?
Yes, exactly. We do.
You do?
Yes, sir.
Well, so the sooner that can be done, the better.
Sure. Yes, Mr. President.
Oh, this is really sad.
Yes.
What? See how many people are affected?
3,000 something plus.
President Akufo-Addo said government will rewire all major markets in the capital.
Udon. Ayé. Asemesi wa anti na me bae. Se me dey me ameni baba hwe dey ekoso. Na MC no one of tia say ye adwuma. One ya. One shops na ase no. Ye chotro bi edi. Na yahwe emwa abanso betumi di aba beboa wo wona tumi asha wona adwuma ase na wiring na wa ha no so no aban baba ye wiring wo market and wo kra nyina baba ye nyina ya rese bibisa yeah, my baby sa ensebio. The motor was a baby abe. Madame Asonia Mixa. Bako. Madame Asa. Masma Papa.
The Greater Accra NADMO Director Archibald Kobna disclosed a committee has been set up to investigate the incident and find a lasting solution to the problem. Meanwhile, the security agencies will take over the market once the firefighters finish the work on the ground.
The markets were all going to be taken care of. They were going to barricade the entire areas. That is to ensure that at a certain time when we ensure that the markets are closed, everybody will close it and move out. People who are sleeping in the market, cooking in the market, those are some of the causes. Apart from the fact that people get quack repairers to repair their gadgets. People don't buy the right gadgets to fix in their various places. We have a lot of people who are using gas and who are not taking good care and are not handling it very, very well in the market. And these are things we have gone ahead to do a lot of education. And yet we have people flouting these things in the markets. And so we've had discussion with them. We've also met with the Deputy Regional Minister, and we are looking at the way forward. We have had a database. We've ensured that we look at everybody who is selling in the market, their pictures, what they are doing, what they are selling, their telephone numbers. You know, it has been an extensive data work base that we have here. So we know everybody in the market.
So how soon will the compilation start so that they can start benefit from what the president just promised them?
As we have started now, as we are talking now, we have people who are doing the assessments. Are you with me? Yeah. So that we just oppose it against the database that we have already. And then as we are speaking now, the NBSSI, as I said, they are working on it to ensure that some monies would be advanced to them, to cushion them. And all of these things are being done now. It's not as though how soon is it going to be. There are meetings that are taking place as we are speaking now to ensure that those things are put in place quickly. They are expected to bring certain informations apart from the ones that the Assembly has, so that we can validate all of those things, to know that indeed you are the one who qualify for A or B or C. So, and those things are being done.
So, Mr. Commoner, some hours down the line, you've been working with the Ghana National Fire Service. Have you been able to establish the cause of this fire?
The cause of this fire, no, we cannot say it just within the spur of the moment. Some investigations have to go in. We give ourselves just a couple of days, by which time it should be ready.
Deputy Chief Fire Officer J.E.A. Kwao said the fire has been controlled. He promised the thick smoke emanating from the scene will go down by close of day.
But we are sampling evidences and we deduce that to come out of the cause of the fire. So I will entreat you to exercise a little bit of restraint so that we can get to know the actual cause of the fire, because within the space of just 2 years, another incident has occurred, and we need to find out the cause and address it holistically.
But this fire started last night or the early hours of today. I still see smoke coming out of the place. Is it to suggest that there is still fire beneath the smoke?
Yes, because some of the containers have padlock sealed in them, and there's a lot of goods in them which have burnt, so they will definitely generate smoke. So as we speak, that is what we are seeing. But the fire has been extinguished. But those in the containers are that one emitting the smokes.
Was it difficult fighting it? I can see access to the place is quite an issue.
Very, very difficult, because there's no access into the market. Every place is covered. And getting into the seat of the fire was a difficult one. And we would find a way of planning so that in the near future, in case of any incident, it will not affect a vast land like this.
My final question will be, how soon can you assure residents of Accra in this environment that we will no longer see the smoke that we are seeing now? How soon can you effectively and efficiently put out this fire?
The men are on the ground working. So I believe if the close of the day, latest by tomorrow morning, I believe we will not see any smoke.
You're watching Joynews Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin, the Electoral Commission says it is hoping to declare the results of the December elections 24 hours after the close of polls.
By the next day, before we go to bed, we'll have declared the results. So our plan is that we want to declare results on the 8th of December. That's why I said that this year's election is going to be the best.
We have all that and more coming up in the bulletin. Do stay tuned in. The electorates in the Asawase constituency in the Ashanti region are particularly worried about the likelihood of violence breaking out during the elections this December. They're therefore calling for the constituency to be giving special attention by the security agencies. The area has consistently been tagged as an election hotspot due to tensions between the two main political parties. As part of Joynews' series on security in constituencies ahead of election 2020, Love FM's Nanaya Ojima spent the day in the constituency and filed this report.
The Asawase constituency is listed among hotspots in the upcoming election, with 53 areas under police radar. The quest of the new Patriotic Party to grab the parliamentary seats from the National Democratic Congress is said to be the cause of the high tension in the area. Several incidents have threatened security in Asawase constituency. In July, a national security operative brandished a gun at a registration center in an attempt to restrict some people from registering in the constituency. Pockets of political violence characterized internal activities of both political parties, mainly from internal race to become parliamentary candidates. Latest among incidents leading to heightened tension is the arrest of some NDC persons police suspect to be armed robbers terrorizing the region. Incumbent Member of Parliament for Asawase, Muntaka Mubarak, claims the police are unfair to the NDC.
I just want to remind the police, and we believe that they will do just, but emanating from what I saw yesterday in the court, I have serious concerns that if the police and the court fail our society, they should know they are contributing to injustice anywhere in the world.
Many in the constituency are concerned about security situation ahead of the upcoming elections. Some point to the existence of party vigilantes despite their disbandment.
We are not seeing the usual macho style and this kind of activities now, but who knows what is going to happen. The political parties should be able to apply the law and make sure that the vigilantes are totally eradicated.
The matter of insecurity and then vigilantes is almost everywhere across the country, in every constituency, in every region.
I will also urge stakeholders, especially the political parties, the CSOs, the clerics and the what have you, to come together to enforce fully the disbandment laws of the vigilante groups and activities. I think having them fully disbanded would be the best solution to causing these problems.
You may walk through these communities and you realize that our words, our communication between some of these youth will tell you that some of these activities is still happening.
Others observed the police after killing of 7 Asawase constituents in Manson Kwanta have refused to patrol the area. This, according to them, has resulted in the open use of drugs by the youth in the area, creating a sense of insecurity, especially as elections beckon.
There is a public toilet over there. When you go there, so far at least around 4:30 to 10 o'clock, Charlie, it's something else.
Yababesi police station. There was Swasi. Who called on about police station? Who called on Agajansha of Urukrum police station? But still, you need bamboo BIO about Aswasi.
If you call a police patrol that they should come, the guys are here inside the park smoking ganja. No one will mind you. So that's our main concern.
Both MPP and NDC, who are key actors in the coming election, have signed pacts to ensure peaceful elections. The NPP, as part of their campaign, is calling on all to use the upcoming elections to erase the violent tag.
We beef our security just to make sure that all eventualities will be curtailed. Before then, I had gone to all the bases, both NDC base and NDC and NPP base, spoke to them. If you do things against the law will take its course on you.
But the NDC has a condition for peace, as Muntaka Mubarak explains.
We are assuring you can't cower us. We'll work within the laws, we'll operate within the laws, make sure that we protect our constituency, do whatever it takes within the law to ensure that victory is secured for Asawase and for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, no doubt about that. We want to encourage the police to dissociate themselves with operatives within the MPP.
For Joynews, Nana Ojima reporting.
The National Peace Council is asking voters in this year's elections to use the best weapon they have, voting against their political opponents rather than resorting to violence. According to the Peace Council, resorting to violence when there's disagreements is the highest form of uncivilized behavior that could lead to the loss of lives and property. Speaking after a peace march in Cape Coast, Central Region Chairman of the National Peace Council entreated all political actors to do nothing that will disturb the peace the country is enjoying. Richard Kojunyako joined the march and has more in the following report.
The peace march was put together by Play Soccer Ghana, the National Peace Council, the Coalition of Election Observers Kodeyo, with support from the political parties. It was a march through the principal street of Cape Coast and consequently treated themselves to a football game on the astroturf of the Football for Hope Center in Cape Coast. The National Peace Council, in an address to the crowd after the march, entreated them to eschew violence and maintain the peace the country is enjoying. The Central Regional Chairman of the National Peace Council, Matthew Egan, implored on Ghanaians to use the best tool they have to vote against their opponents when they split hairs on a matter and not to resort to violence.
Let us respect different political views. When in disagreement, confront the issues, not the person. Attacking a person is violence, and violence is a weapon of the weak. Your best weapon is to vote out your political opponent in the ballot box. The consequences of a non-peaceful election are too many to recount. We do not want to lose our lives, to destroy our properties, live in fear, and be refugees, as we witnessed in some of our neighboring countries.
Country Director of Play Soccer Ghana, Franklin Esio, says the Global Peace Games that are done every year has a purpose of uniting the people and making them eschew violence when they disagree.
And the idea is to use football particularly to promote peace in our communities. We all know the key role that peace play in development. Yes, so today's program is particularly tailored towards the December polls, and the aim is to promote peace before, during, and after the 2020 elections. Football unites people, football brings the various teams together, and that is how we aim to promote peace.
Programs Manager of Play Soccer Ghana, Antonia Santiago, urged the political actors to accept the outcome of the elections to save lives and property.
We should all learn to accept the decision, whatever the outcome of the election may be. We should learn to live in peace and in harmony. For this to be the 8th general election we've had, and we haven't encountered any issue of war in Ghana. So let us all try to maintain the peace we have.
Emmanuel Ikpe Kwaku of the Kodeyo appealed to the people to always remember that they are one people with a common destiny.
We teamed up together to organize this peace walk to send a message that even though we belong to different political groupings, we are still one people living in Cape Coast, we are still one people living in Central Region, and we are still one Ghanaians. So we need to conduct ourselves in a peaceful manner so that come December 7, we will go and cast our votes and then continue to live in peace and harmony.
A football match was organized to round off the activities for the day. This year's Global Peace Games were held to bring the people together for a peaceful election. Richard Kojunyako, Joynews, Cape Coast.
The Electoral Commission says it is aiming to declare the results of the 2020 election at most 24 hours after the polls close. It will be a marked departure from previous elections where the results have been declared several days after. Speaking at an election colloquium organized by the Star Ghana Foundation in collaboration with the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Director of Elections, Dr. Srebo Kweku, said considerable planning has been done to ensure the 2020 election is Ghana's best ever. The colloquium was to consider lessons learned from previous elections to ensure the 2020 election is peaceful. In setting the tone for the conversation, the Executive Director of CDD Ghana, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, highlighted some red flags which could negatively impact the peacefulness of the polls.
Really is on our minds mostly when we talk about election peace and security, the issue of political vigilantism, which has been a matter that has come to the fore certainly since the 2008 elections, but even before that. But I think has grown and gained greater national notoriety since the 2016 elections. I think it began to emerge soon after the elections in a number of post-election incidents, as well as during the transition between the two parties. But I think it reached its lowest ebb with the events surrounding the Ayawaso West Wagon by-election.
Superintendent Henry Eyisi-Mensah, who represented the IGP, assured a number of measures have been instituted to avert some of the lapses identified in previous elections.
As the lead internal security organization and the chair of the National Election Security Task Force, we acknowledge the fact that the stakes are high in terms of security. So a number of pragmatic measures have been put in place towards the forthcoming election, before, during, and after. We have conducted a very comprehensive threat assessment, and we've identified quite a number of issues that we think can have a negative impact on the forthcoming elections.
Member of the UN mediation team, Emmanuel Bombande, was however of the opinion the plans and laws alone will not suffice in ensuring a peaceful poll.
I am committed to non-violence in the elections, rather than there is a law on vigilantism. The two are different. When you say the law on vigilantism will deal with you on a political platform, you are transferring responsibility for somebody else to do something. And you enumerated the difficulties about that. But when you begin with I, for example, I sitting here, I'm committed to non-violence. That is me. Before then we talk about anything else. It makes a difference. I wish there could be the type of support for our Peace Council to engage in
the Electoral Commission, on its part, says it remains ready to deliver on its mandate.
You should expect credible election, the best election in the history of Mother Ghana. For the first time, almost all our materials are at the regions more than 2 weeks to the election. And I know by the course of tomorrow, our registered and ballot pairs will be at the regions. So that tells you that we have planned ahead of time, and we are sure that the parties are also involved. And it's like all things being equal, by the next day, before we go to bed, we'll have declared the results. So our plan is that we want to declare results on the 8th of December. That's why I said that this year's election is going to be the best, because we are putting in place all the planning that it needs, and we are getting all the support that we need. All the logistics have been put in place. The regions and the districts have been asked to submit what they will need to make our dream of declaring the results the next day a reality.
Chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Ernest Edujenfi, highlighted the challenge of religious leaders making pronouncements which could spark conflict.
Well, we are all worried about the ministers who give prophecies and things concerning election. Our appeal to them is that as much as possible, we believe that prophecy still exists, that we need to exercise wisdom in speaking out some of these things so that we don't create unnecessary tension in our country. From the angle of the Peace Council, because of our representation on the council with the various heads of religious organizations, we are seeking to use our members to appeal to their people to do the best they can to tone down some of these things. Any minister who prophesies, as it were, affiliated to a particular party, you must understand that your church members belong to different parties. And therefore, when you do those things, you are virtually dividing the church.
Election Headquarters coverage was brought to you by
Use more purchase of premium products via
Watching Joynews Prime, we're taking a break, but later on in business, Trade Minister Alan Kyerematen warns against unfair trade practices as businesses gear up for the Continental Free Trade Agreement. There's more as he receives the concluding part of an investigation by the Ghana International Trade Commission on aluminium dumping.
Any efforts at having unfair trade practices in our economy will undermine the work that we've done so far.
Also in the bulletin much later, in about an hour, a Joynews investigation has uncovered procurement breaches at the National Lottery Authority that has resulted in the loss of over $10 million of the taxpayers' money.
It seems obvious that the price of the POS terminals has been inflated by more than $10 million.
We have the details coming up. Stay tuned in.
Hello there, it's now time for business. I'm Charles Aite. The Trade Minister Alan Kyerematen is warning against unfair trade practices as Ghana and the rest of Africa readies for the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement area. His warning comes after investigations by the Ghana International Trade Commission unveiled the dumping of aluminium coils and circles originating in or imported from China. Officials presented the findings to the Trade Minister, who in turn gave this particular remark. Take a listen to him.
Any efforts at having unfair trade practices in our economy will undermine the work that we've done so far in encouraging and supporting local industries. And I believe that the work that the Commission is embarking on will protect our local industries from unfair trade practices. Secondly, the establishment of the Continental Free Trade Area, I believe, will be the most powerful stimulus for attracting investments, not only into Ghana, but into the whole continent. But particularly for us as Ghana, as a host country, we believe that this offers an opportunity for Ghana to become the new gateway and manufacturing hub for the continent. In that respect, we want to use the work of the Commission to assure investors who will be attracted to locate their facilities in Ghana to take advantage of the continental market, that the work of the Commission will provide the ecosystem to guarantee them against unfair trade practices that will be occasioned by people who engage in these unfortunate exercises.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Chairman of the Ghana International Trade Commission, Professor Paul Kuruk, disclosed that the GITC decided that a definitive anti-dumping duty of 35.77% be imposed on aluminium coils and circles originating in or imported from China for a period in the beginning of January 2021.
The investigation that was conducted by the Commission established that there was prima facie evidence to show that the subject product was being imported at dumped prices and causing material injury and a threat of material injury to to the Ghanaian industry. The investigation period was from May 15, 2019 to May 13, 2020. After considering the facts available to it, the Commission made a preliminary determination that the subject product originating in China is being dumped onto the Ghana market, causing material injury and a threat of material injury to the Ghanaian industry. The Commission calculated a weighted average dumping margin of 35.77% for the subject product. Material injury to the domestic industry was found to be in the form of declines experienced by Aluex with respect to its sales volumes, market share, return on investment, productivity, incoming cash flow, growth and utilization of production capacity. The Commission also found that there was a causal link between the dumped product and the material injury. So the Commission took account of evidence including the increases in the volumes of the dumped product, absolute or relative to domestic production or consumption.
Away from that, the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, NBSSI, has marked the Global Entrepreneurship Week celebration with a signing of agreement with some partners to support micro, small-scale enterprises targeting young women entrepreneurs. Now, the project, which is part of the MasterCard Foundation's Young Africa Works, seeks to use the services of the Association of Ghana Industries, the Ghana Tech Lab, She-Hub, and the Intelligent Capital to mentor and provide additional skills to micro businesses to transform into larger ones. There is more in this report.
The agreements were used to cement the relationship between the NBSSI and some other partners in accelerating the growth of micro, small and medium enterprises across the country. The Association of Ghana Industries, Ghana Tech Lab, She-Hub and Intelligent Capital are expected to provide various mentorship and skills development programs for SMEs under the Young Africa Works project. Executive Director of the NBSSI, Kosi Yankee Aye, believes that these new partnerships will help the agency hit its target of creating 39,000 jobs for the youth.
NBSSI envisages that effective collaboration with partners will help make the work easier and also achieve the overall goal of the project. It is on this premise that we have decided today, as we celebrate the Global Entrepreneurship Week, and whilst encouraging entrepreneurship around Ghana, we have seized the opportunity to sign a memorandum of understanding and contracts with our relevant project partners to seal our partnership and continue to chart the development agenda of the nation. This year has been very uncertain for many, especially due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The protocols that we needed to observe and the lockdown, which meant that timelines for many of our projects could not start at the time that we wanted to, affecting even the beneficiaries and access to the beneficiaries. But most importantly, my staff and the team and the partners prevailed and were very persistent. We did not allow it to keep us back.
Chief Executive of the Association of Ghana Industries, Sechima Kwabwa, on his part, said as an industry-led association with many SMEs, any objective of supporting the sector is of critical importance as they prepare for many more international opportunities.
Only this year, we've had more than 100 young enterprises just joining the association to get support. And our role in this program is one of the network that we provide for these young enterprises, and also the fact that they will have the opportunity of being mentored by the bigger enterprises who have gone through the mill and have been successful or have had good experiences to share at different stages in their business life. So these young enterprises will have the opportunity of working with all these. And we would continue to support in this area. I also like the idea of the digitization and operational efficiency, and that is one role that we will also play critically here, because you've got to be efficient in order to be competitive.
Ghana Tech Lab, She-Hub and Intelligent Capital also declared their commitment to the partnership. Ebenezer Sabotage report for Joy Business.
Let's now take you to the Money Lab. Tonight we discuss retirement.
On Money Lab today, we round up our conversation on retirement planning. What we have discussed so far is that it's important to set up and begin running a retirement plan account before you retire. The lesson in there is that the longer the duration you have to retire, the easier it is for you to put similar, smaller amount into an account that will take care of you the day you retire. One critical thing you must also do is to understand for yourself the 3-tier pension system Ghana runs. Tier 1 is mandatory, Tier 2 is mandatory, and Tier 3 is voluntary. So you must take a good look at your Tier 1 statement today as you listen to us or watch us. Go and inquire from your HR also about your Tier 2 and get to know the value. And for Tier 3, open a personal pension account for yourself or go on having a provident fund from your employees. When you do this, you are covered for your retirement plan.
And that'll be all for business. Sport is up next with Gary L. Smith this day.
Joynews Prime. Gary L. Smith with the sport. Black Stars coach CK Akono says he saw an improvement in his team despite their 1-0 loss to Sudan on Tuesday. According to him, the COVID-19 pandemic has not helped in his quest to build a winning side, but he's beginning to see positives.
With 2 games to the end of the qualification series, the Black Stars lost their first game against Sudan. Mohamed Abdulrahman scored a 91st-minute header to hand Ghana their first defeat since the campaign began in November 2019. Despite the loss, Ghana still toppled Group C with 9 points, but with a superior goal difference over second-placed South Africa, who have equal points. The senior national team will travel to South Africa for match day 5 of the qualifiers. A win for Sudan against Sao Tome and Principe would put them on level points with Ghana should the team fail to beat South Africa. However, Black Stars coach CK Akono insists Ghana will qualify to the tournament slated for 2022.
Of course, we play without many key players and the likes of the captain, Kudus and other people. And so looking at all this, I strongly believe that we did well. What I can say is that we learned from this mistake, from the mistakes we've made, and of course in March we have 2 matches coming on, and I can assure that we will qualify. We will do well against South Africa, we'll do well against Sao Tome, and we'll qualify for the AFCON. We will qualify. We will do that, I can assure we will qualify. But of course we have to do a bit of work. We will not qualify verbally, but we have to work hard to get there. I strongly believe, and I can assure any Ghanaians that we'll do our best to qualify.
Akono attributed his inability to build a winning team to the COVID-19 pandemic. He is hopeful before the next qualifiers in March, the virus will not put his team in disarray.
The Turkey friendlies, there were a lot of issues concerning the COVID. Jordan, Edu, and the rest. But I must be honest, I'm not sure. I'm grateful for the fact that they all came. They tried to keep those who were not able to get here on time. They still fought with their clubs to come down, and that is something we can appreciate. We're not in normal times, and I think you can only appreciate what they've done. Some of them had it through journey, and they still risked to come, and so I am happy. I strongly believe that once we get ourselves, well, now we're used to the situation, the FA, myself, the players. I hope that in March, before we assemble again, the COVID will be a bit less, and we'll know how to take care of ourselves in that area.
A win for Ghana will seal their qualification to the Continental Showbiz in Cameroon in 2022.
Heart of Oak's Chief Executive Officer Frederick Moore says the Pobiman Academy project's completion date could be extended due to the pandemic. Now, according to him, the Turkish construction agency engaged for phase 2 of the project is yet to arrive due to the coronavirus. My colleague Benar has the rest of the story.
The Pobiman project is a priority for the leadership of Accra Hearts of Oak. Earlier this year, the club engaged a local construction company, KA Estates Construction Limited, to work on the first phase of the project, of which completion was expected to end in October. Chief Executive Officer Frederick Moore had told Joy Sports the contractor was ahead of the schedule. The Pobiman project manager, Togbe Drake IV, said a Turkish construction company, Prefabex Yabi, was expected to take over for phase 2 of the project to its entirety in October and had 4 months in agreement with the club.
We have a mutual agreement for them to complete their work in about 4 months when they touch ground. Right. When they touch ground here and start installing, the installation could probably take them about 4 months. Yes, so we're looking at the local contractor completing his work around 1st of October, as I did make mention of. It's also very possible the Turkish would get in before, by the time they are packing out, and then they will have to work hand in hand.
However, it appears the expected deadline for the completion of the project is unclear. As CEO Frederick Moore tells Joy Sports, the arrival of the contractor has been delayed by the COVID-19 pandemic, which could ultimately extend the completion date.
Well, and he completed his work on schedule, and I think a little bit ahead of schedule. What we didn't anticipate was that Turkey was going to have a longer lockdown than we did. So the Turkish arrival has delayed a little bit, and therefore everything would delay. But all along, we wanted to be in by December, latest January. We are still in constant touch with the Turkish company, and as soon as we know when they are arriving, you'll be the first to know.
The Pobiman Academy is an ultra-modern sporting facility that houses training centers, swimming pools, residence for staff, and many others.
And that's it for the sport. And for those on Joy Prime, that's the end of the news. But if you're on Joynews, there's more coming up. Thank you for your time.
Right, it's time for showbiz. Becky is here in all black. So what? You're deciding to slay to mourn Rawlings?
We're just mourning, please. Slaying is for some people. But let's talk about Shatta Wale. Whenever I mention Shatta Wale, it's like some sort of, feeling.
Comes over you.
Like you have to speak in a certain way because you're talking about Shatta Wale.
Okay.
I'm overdoing it.
What about Shatta this time?
So he was supposedly attacked in Kumasi, and the videos have been going around on social media.
But who would attack Shatta?
Exactly my point. So Shatta on Daybreak Hits this morning explained everything, what happened, but it wasn't actually an attack. It was just, some fans who are angry because he couldn't, come there. They were expecting him to show up, but he didn't show up.
So they felt disappointed.
Yeah, basically.
So to clear all this, I had a whole lot of calls from people asking me if I was really attacked. My explanation was that we were going to Kofom to shoot a video, and that was Amado's set that we were going for. And I actually didn't get there, but the information I had was that the crowd were tensed up, like they were crazy, like everybody wanted to see Shatta because they didn't know which car I was in, so everybody was crazy when, the team got there. We have like ushers with the security, before the camera crew, then before me and my security and, my team. So I think when they saw the other cars, the aggressiveness in the town was too much. So they actually told me that we shouldn't come to that point because the way the crowd, the fans were cheering up, because they didn't know which car I was in. So it got to a point where they said, okay, we should leave the location, but they would get back to me. So I didn't see anything happen in Kofom. I didn't see anybody attacked in Kofom. Like, everything was like nice, with all these things that we went to do. So I don't know who is really, spreading all this news that I was attacked. Because we are more, magazine boy.
Right, that was Shatta Wale explaining what actually happened at Kumasi. But Friday is Adon Praise. And
we've been anticipating it for a while now.
And I'm thinking that a lot of people have forgotten that Friday is Adon Praise and they will be blessed.
Remind them.
I'm reminding you. Celestine Donko is reminding everybody to tune into Adom. It's the Adom channel. I'm sure Joynews will, take it live because it's virtual. That you should stick with us, and she is promising a whole lot for you.
There's also one other surprise, the Adom Praise. You know what it is?
Yes. Do you want me to tell them?
We can hold on to that, but we can give them a hint.
Yeah, the fact that the multimedia choir
is launching an anniversary song,
which you're part of. Can you imagine? If you want to see Israelites singing.
Yeah.
It's
wait. Something you have to, you can't miss. You can't miss.
What was your line again?
We're not going to give it all out
Say
to the people
something.
now. No, now.
Okay. I'll wait till Friday.
So then...
Tom and Jerry, for all the Tom and Jerry fans, I'm very excited that this is coming onto the big screen.
So hold on. Who told you?
You watch Tom and Jerry?
Everybody watches Tom and Jerry.
Are you sure?
Have you forgotten Afari Jang told us he was watching Tom? Yeah.
Oh God.
Tom and Jerry is not a kid's show. So what is happening now is that it's going onto the big screen.
Big screen, and we're expecting something big. That's a trailer. Okay. Yeah. But, before I go, let me talk about E-Vibes. Let's remind everybody else out there, if you haven't seen E-Vibes.
So two things we are reminding the people about Adom Praise.
About Adom Praise and E-Vibes on Saturday. So Adom Praise is on Friday. You tune in. Oh, that's the minister, Kujo Ponkroma, there sharing a lot about his life.
Okay.
He loves... Tomorrow I'll play that to you. Tomorrow I'll tell you what kind of music he listens to and the person he likes in the movie and the music industry.
Okay.
So you get to know what kind of music he listens to and all that.
All right. Thank you very much, Becky Bex, for bringing us Showbiz.
You will be on E-Vibes. You know that, right?
I will be?
Yes. So be prepared.
Okay. I hear you. All right. Thank you. Now, health workers involved in providing care for people with COVID-19 have lamented the intense pressure they are having to endure following the resurgence in the number of cases in recent weeks. They tell Joynews they fear they could buck under pressure if the cases continue to mount. The resurgence has been blamed on the general lack of adherence to the preventive protocols, such as wearing of masks. Joynews' Beryl Ernestina visited the COVID-19 center at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and report the health workers are appealing to the public to take care of themselves so they don't get infected.
The condition of COVID-19 patients on admission at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has become critical and needs specialized attention. Health workers at the treatment center brace themselves for the task ahead.
And this ambulance is ready to transport a critically ill COVID patient to the intensive care unit for proper management and care. The nurses and other health workers here at the COVID unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital are getting ready or packing everything that the patient will need when he or she is admitted at the intensive care unit.
Prosper Pobi is a senior public health nurse and a member of the COVID-19 case management at the Premier Health Facility.
We currently have 4, and out of the 4, 3 are currently on oxygen. 1 is not. And out of the 3, 1 is in critical condition. And so my colleagues are just preparing to take him to the medical intensive care unit for continuity of care.
He is worried about the increasing cases of COVID-19 cases at the treatment center.
In the last 2 weeks, we've realized that there is a surge in the number of COVID cases we recorded in the facility. This involves patients who are currently on admission and then relatives who are coming from home just to be screened. This is a treatment center. So all the cases we have here are already positive. You have to record a positive test to be brought here. So from the beginning of the week, we had 7 positive cases here.
Over the past few months, health experts have expressed concerns about the disregard for the COVID-19 safety protocols by the public. Many attribute the non-adherence to safety protocols to the current increase of cases. Senior public health nurse Prosper Pobi says health workers are under extreme pressure.
I want them to also note that the energy with which health workers started this fight is no more like that. We are getting tired. Some of us have not had our leave for the past 12 months. Currently, as we speak, I know 2 staff of the department who are currently self-isolating because they've tested positive. One even had a son contracting the disease because when we screened the family, the son tested positive. So yes, it's real. Some of our colleagues have been testing positive and some are still positive. But by the grace of God, we've not lost any life yet.
Dr. Dennis Tete is one of the medical officers at the intensive care unit of the treatment center. According to him, the unit currently has 2 patients on oxygen.
So currently we have 2 patients on admission, all on oxygen, fairly stable, doing well. So that's where we are now.
Under what conditions were they brought here?
Okay, so they were all brought in a state of respiratory distress. One had comorbidity, the other was fairly fine till he started deteriorating gradually. So you had to put him on oxygen.
For frontline health workers like Dr. Dennis Tete and Prosper Pobi, they would continue giving off their best, but they have a caution for Ghanaians.
Yes, COVID is not gone, it's still with us. So my advice to them will be to adhere to the protocols and try and stay safe for themselves, for their families, and also for us. We've had 1 mortality this week here. That's our fight.
The general public should note that COVID is still real and it's still killing.
As the battle against COVID-19 rages, you hold your fate in your hands by observing the safety protocols. Beryl Ernestina reached this report for Joynews.
Right, and indeed, COVID is real. Let's get on to the COVID-19 website dashboard. That's there. The new cases, we have 81 new cases reported on November 14. The active cases now stand at 1,424. It went down to as low as under 300. We have a total of 50,457 cases, and there have been 323 deaths of COVID-19 related deaths. It's important that you take care of yourselves. All you have to do is to keep your mask on if you have to be in public, and avoid crowds, and stay socially distant. But 2,180 children have contracted COVID-19 since the country recorded its first case in March. That's according to a report by child rights advocacy group Child Rights International. The report further reveals more girls have contracted the virus as compared to boys. However, more boys have died from the virus. Addressing a news conference on Tuesday, Executive Director of Child Rights International, Brighter Pia, urged government to intensify its campaign to enable children understand the importance of observing the COVID-19 safety protocols. There is more in this report by Faustina Safo.
The data emerged from a research conducted by Child Rights International between March 11 and November 9. The survey was conducted in 589 communities across the country. Researchers sampled the opinions of 4,458 children. According to the report, out of the 2,180 children who have contracted COVID-19, 1,116 are girls, constituting 53.3%, and 1,019 are boys, making up 46.7%. The report also shows majority of children who contracted the virus are under 14 years old. It also revealed that although more girls have contracted the virus, more boys have died. Out of 333 deaths recorded in the country, 4 of them are children between the ages of 0 to 14. Out of the 4, 3 are boys. Executive Director of Child Rights International, Brighter Pia, says government must intensify its campaign to allow children understand the importance of adhering to safety protocols.
The data shows that, yes, children were affected by COVID, But if you look at the nationwide data that was provided from the 11th of March to 9th November, out of the 49,202 that contracted COVID virus, only 2,180 were below the age of 18 years. Majority of children who contracted COVID falls within that age cohort, especially from 0 to 14, and then also from 15 to 17. And what we realized was that more girls have contracted COVID as compared to boys within the same age cohort. However, if you look at the mortality, it's higher in boys as compared to girls.
The survey also sought to find out the impact of COVID-19 on education. It revealed only 5% of children in 5 regions have access to digital platforms.
Former NDC flag bearer aspirant Sylvester Mensah says Ghanaians should find a place in their hearts to forgive the excesses of the military regime of former President Jerry John Rawlings. Mr. Mensah was among former schoolmates and government appointees who were at the Accra International Conference Center to sign a book of condolence open for the late president. Maxwell Agwagba has more.
At this time of his departure, we can only mourn and appeal to those who have been victims of the excesses during his regime to have some space in their heart to forgive. Times have been rough, and the times and the manners when he emerged were completely different. The pressures, the demands, the slogans all fed into the actions and the excesses that obtained at the time.
It's day 3 of the signing of the Book of Condolence here at the foyer of the Accra International Conference Center. Well, when you come here, there are portraits and pictures of the former President Jerry John Rawlings here, basically summing up his life and what he stood for. Well, a lot of people have been coming here to sign the Book of Condolence. We've had some former students of Achimota School also coming here. I've been speaking to a lady, Gifty Anna Myers, who was a classmate of Jerry John Rawlings in the 1950s.
Each Christmas, we held a school play where we were taught to speak, elocution lessons, to speak. And Jerry Rawlings always played the lead role. His portrayal of Mark Antony in Julius Caesar is to be reckoned with. He brought the whole house down. All parents gave him a standing ovation.
Joynews investigation has uncovered the nation lost over $10 million in the procurement of point-of-sale devices for the National Lottery Authority NLA. In a documentary set for broadcast in a few minutes here on Joynews, our team gathered evidence that the contract for the supply of 30,000 POS devices for the NLA could have cost less than half of the $25 million spent. The documentary comes up in a moment.